Hello, friends, and welcome back to another podcast episode of Nourish You with me, your host, Salima Valiu. It's been a while, so let's jump in. This week's podcast is affectionately called Pilates meets Zen, Prana, Precision, and the Focused Path to Flow. Your invitation to Nourishment this week offers you a set of embodied prompts to help you return to your center, physically, emotionally, and energetically, grounded in Pilates precision with Zen simplicity. These reflections will guide you to embrace precision as a pathway to clarity and confidence and not perfection. Very important in the social media world that we live in. Refine your focus to cultivate a greater presence in movement in daily life. A Prana activation practice to center and circulate. And explore a Zen-inspired approach to showing up with sincerity, simplicity, and presence. This is a gentle call to notice where your energy is going, how your intentions shape your actions, and how nourishment and healing begins by listening and tuning within. To be honest with you, this is the first real moment that I've had to land since returning from my recent trip to Spain. After weeks of planning, studying, traveling, and teaching, I finally allowed the words to arrive. Not forced, but just gently welcomed. This was going to be a no audio, no podcast, short but sweet, potent piece for you. Instead, it's turned and morphed into this, so I hope that you enjoy it. I'm writing this on the evening of the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, from my quiet spot by the water here in Cambridgeshire. There's a warm stillness in the air where various dragonflies and paddleboarders skim the surface. The light lingers a little longer, and it gives a certain invitation to pause, breathe, and receive all that is. May was both generous and genius, full of life, momentum, a few bumps, yes, but also breakthroughs. Since April, a quiet energy I feel has been building, a refocus, a reset, and perhaps most importantly, a renewed belief in myself and my path or my directionality. Working alongside the wonderful Elena Brower and our Hive consort has offered a grounded space for deep directionality, a word I've come to love, paired with clarity and spaciousness. That work was soon followed by my mat Pilates certification, and now I find myself preparing for the next step in my journey, heading to London this week, back to my old stomping ground around Wimbledon and South London to begin my Pilates reformer training with the wonderful Naomi De Fabio. It's been a season of authentic connections, unexpected openings, and the sweet surprise, actually, of my coaching practice quietly rebuilding itself. Sorry about that. Proof that we never really start from scratch when we move from our center. And it got me thinking, with all the Pilates I've been doing lately, about this core principle of Pilates, which is one of the core principles of Pilates, which is centering. The idea that all movement begins from a strong, stable center, not just physically through the core and deep postural muscles, but energetically and mentally too. To be centered is to return to the source of your strength. We often talk about that in yoga too. To know where you move from and why, more importantly, is also deeply beneficial. In Pilates, we train this with focused breath and attention. We return to the center not to control, but instead to cultivate calm, clarity, and direction. Whether on the mat or in life, when you're centered, your movement becomes more meaningful, more aligned, and ultimately you begin to feel more freedom. And when combined with precision, this becomes a kind of embodied meditation, a daily practice of remembering and refining. So, What does all of this have to do with prana, precision, focus, and flow, you ask, Salema? Well, everything. These four elements have been the quiet threads woven through every endeavour that's felt aligned, easeful, and purposeful. And the times where things haven't flowed, I can honestly say one or more of these elements was missing when I reflect back. Returning to Pilates has taught me the beauty of precision. And it's not about striving for perfection, looking a certain way, but instead it's about moving with intention, clarity, and awareness. A core principle of the method, after all, is control, but not in a rigid way, but in a way that honors the relationship between breath, movement, and mind. Chronology is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. That's one of Joseph Pilates' famous quotes that I share with you there. And just last week, after covering a Pilates class, a student approached me and said, I just wanted to say how helpful it was the way that you explained the breath. It was so precise and supportive, it helped me feel more in control. I smiled, surprised. I wasn't sure what I had actually said differently, but it reminded me of an important, potent prompt. And this is when people feel when you are present and when you're focused. And when people feel when you are present and focused, they feel more supported, more seen. And then during the mat class this week, another teacher mentioned my concentration, noticing how tuned in I seemed. Again, a simple reflection, but one that echoes something deeper that I've been exploring. Or a few points that I've been exploring. 1, where we place our focus, our energy flows. 2, when we move with precision, we create presence, probably one of the most important things. And when we honor the breath, our life force, our prana, we align with a deeper intelligence within us. Now, I'm going to talk about this, the difference, because prana and breath are not actually the same. So in Sanskrit, prana means life force or vital energy that's moving through us. Breath is its vehicle. So while breath is not the same as prana, so breath in Sanskrit is vayu. So while vayu, the breath, is not the same as prana, is considered the main carrier or expression of prana, vayu, in the physical body. Prana in the physical body. In Ayurveda and energetic systems like traditional Chinese medicine, we refer this as qi. Breath and prana are therefore intimately linked, but not identical. Think of it this way: breath is the tangible expression, and prana is the subtle force behind it. So, bearing that in mind, I'm going to give you now a prana activation practice, which will help you center and also circulate this flow of vital life force within you. The purpose really is, as I say, to awaken and circulate this life force through intentional breath, focus, and subtle movement. This practice will calm the nervous system, strengthen internal awareness, and will help you reconnect with your energetic center. So, step 1, ground and center. Come to a comfortable seated position on the floor or a chair. And these cues are super simple. So if you've never done any yoga or any breath work, it doesn't matter. Next, simply rest your hands on your belly or your heart and then close your eyes gently. Start to begin to follow the natural rhythm of your breath. And while you do that, can you start to soften your jaw, your shoulders, and widen across your forehead? As you do this, internally whisper to yourself, I am here and I am centered. Step 2, breath and awareness. Inhale slowly through your nose now for a count of 4, feeling the ribs expand sideways and through the back of the body. And now exhale gently out through the mouth, through pursed lips for a count of 6. And allow your belly and jaw to soften while you do this. Now, can you start to visualize the breath as light or energy moving in and through the nostrils and gathering at your center, your solar plexus or heart, whatever you prefer to identify with. Now, with each exhale, imagine tension melting and clarity rising. As you breathe in, quietly whisper to yourself, I draw in life force. As you breathe out, internally say to yourself, I release what's no longer needed. Step 3, the subtle prana flow. Now I want you to inhale and sweep your arms up overhead as if drawing energy upwards. As you exhale, float your arms down as if you're moving or paddling through water. Imagine that you are spreading calm energy throughout your body. And repeat this 5 to 7 rounds with intention. Keep the breath smoothed, unforced, and focused. And a little tip here, this movement and breath work can be done seated, standing, or even lying down with just the arms and the breath. Step 4, seal the practice. Now place your hands over your heart or navel and whisper silently, I honor the breath. I return to center. I move with purpose. Pilates integration. Ab prep with breath focus flow. The purpose of this exercise is to deepen core awareness and bring a certain amount of coordination, breath with movement, and connect with the energetic center, solar plexus, supporting clarity, calm, and grounded flow. So, come to lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and pelvis in a neutral position. If you're not sure how to find that, tip your pelvis forward and back between a posterior and anterior tilt, and then come somewhere in between those two. If you have trouble with that, take the Pilates cue of joining the thumbs and the index fingers together in the shape of a diamond, and let your thumbs be just underneath your navel and the index fingers pointing towards the pubic bone. As you tilt the pelvis back and forth, you'll notice this diamond shape at an angle. You want it to be parallel to the ceiling or the sky. Next, place your arms down by your sides, shoulders relaxed and spine long. Lightly place hands behind the head, elbows just in view, or rest them on your thighs for support. As you inhale, again expand the rib cage wide. Thoracic lateral breathing, a key element of the Pilates method. As you do that, start to feel the breath circulate through the whole torso. Really see if you can bring your concentration inwards. As you exhale, draw your navel gently back towards your spine. Float the head, neck, and shoulders up in one smooth line and gaze towards the thighs, keeping the pelvis and legs stable. At the top, pause, hold for one breath, feel energy centered in the core, even gaze at your navel and make sure it's down. And as you feel this energy centered in the core, stay steady and alive. As you take an inhale, lower back down with control, maintaining the length in the spine. Repeat to 6 to 8 times, syncing each one with the full intentional breath. To progress on your final rep, float your arms overhead as you inhale and slowly sweep them down by your sides as you exhale, echoing this subtle prana flow from within your practice. From a Zen perspective, this idea is at the very heart of practice, noticing, attuning, returning. Practical Zen invites us to show up fully in the moment, Whether we're washing the dishes, walking across the room, or cueing a movement, it teaches us that mindfulness doesn't need incense or chanting. Those things can be beautiful, but rather the commitment to presence again and again. As Zen master Dojin said once, to study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. Therefore, when we bring precision and presence into our daily actions, we disappear into the experience. The ego softens and we move into the flow. The doing becomes the being. And perhaps this is the most critical learning. And for me, that's what happened today while writing this. The water held the moment, the wind moved just enough, and the words came through me. So now I invite you to reflect on the following prompts. Number 1, where is your focus right now? Number 2, are you moving with precision or rushing to the next thing? 3, can you invite more prana, more presence, more spaciousness into your flow, the flow in your life? 4, are you connected to your center, your source? Do you feel stable, secure, or do you feel vulnerable and fearful? 5, can you move through life with more intention, focus, and breath? 6, what would happen if you let precision be an anchor rather than a burden? 7, how might flow arise naturally when you let yourself be fully present, fully here? These reflections aren't simply journal prompts. Instead, they're embodied invitations, part of a mindful inquiry, part movement meditation. They're designed to help you return to your center with presence and clarity, rooted in the Pilates precision and Zen awareness. Each prompt will gently encourage you to explore your inner landscape through the body, to notice where your energy flows, how your breath moves, and where your focus lands. Think of them as quiet companions guiding you towards greater alignment, nourishment, healing, and connection, both on and off the mat. You don't need a mat or a mantra to begin, you just need the willingness to listen and return to your center. I'll close this with a great quote from Jack Cornfield. He says, much of spiritual life is self-acceptance, and maybe all of it. If you're interested in working with me and exploring some of these principles or lines of inquiry, then please feel free to connect with me on my latest offerings on Linktree. You can get all the information there. If you're reading this on Substack, the link is highlighted. Otherwise, if you're listening on any other platform, please go to SALEMA'S on Linktree and you can connect with me there. This Substack post and podcast is reader supported. And so to receive new person, also help support my work, consider becoming a free or paid subscriber. If you know someone that might benefit from this post and podcast, please feel free to share, leave a comment, and let me know your thoughts. But I hope that you have found this podcast helpful and has given you maybe different perspectives, different lines of thinking. And until we meet next time in the virtual land of Substack and through our listening platforms, I wish you well. And I wish you stay safe. If you're in the heat like us here in the UK, hydrate and rest up and replenish. And I will see you next time.